Good morning and welcome to a brand new episode of African Techpreneur. This is episode 6 and it's hard to believe that we've already gone 6 weeks into this. Now, today is a particularly exciting episode for me because we have some very, very important guests. We have Mikhail Marimutu from the Empire Foundation, Empire Partner Foundation, and he's going to be talking to us about the work that they are doing. And I think what's great is that there's a lot of alignment between what IT Varsity is doing and what the Empire Partner Foundation is doing, and we're looking at establishing a long-term relationship with them. We've also got two guests who are brand new students of IT Varsity. So how this came about was there was a hackathon that was run by Empire Foundation. Mikhail will talk to us about that. And these young people attended the hackathon, and one of the prizes that was put out was 2 bursaries for the entrepreneur course at IT Varsity. So these young people applied for the course, applied for winning the bursary to the course, and they were selected. So there was an internal selection process, and they were selected, and now this is their first day. And what's going to be great about this working with these 2 people is that this is the first touch point. This is the first time that we are talking to them about the course and about their plans for the future. And it's going to be followed up with a number of episodes where they come back and describe their progress. So we are going to be seeing their progress throughout this year. And that's going to be really cool because we're going to see them almost from zero to becoming successful app entrepreneurs or successful software developers or web designers or whatever path they choose. So that's going to be really, really exciting. And for me, it's also exciting because it's always nice to see young people taking steps towards making their lives better. And I like to step in and help them in any way that I possibly can. So there's a lot that's going to be going on here. There's going to be these young people that are doing the course, that it's going to be us mentoring them through the course and also through them starting their careers, but also us jointly with them sort of tracking their progress as we're going along on the African Techpreneur webinar. So this is going to be very, very exciting. And also what's exciting is that we have the entire IT Varsity team here, and we have the IT Varsity students that are on the Facebook live stream that are here to welcome these 2 young people into their careers at IT Varsity. So this is going to be really exciting. So I'm going to start with talking to Mikhail more about the Empire Partner Foundation and what they do. So part of what they do is running hackathons, and these hackathons are really awesome. I attended the last one in Johannesburg, and it was phenomenal. So I'm going to let Mikhail talk to us about that, and then we'll talk to each one of these young people about their winning this bursary and their plans for the future. Mikhail, welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Good morning, Bilal. Thank you so much for having me on your webinar. I'm very, very honored to be here. So just to give everybody just a little context in terms of what we do. So we're a nonprofit organization that is committed to solving socioeconomic challenges using smart technology. Now, one of the ways we go about solving these challenges is by hosting monthly hackathons. Now, what we do is we basically have a couple of problem statements, and for this month, actually, we have a hackathon coming up this month, which is going to focus on healthcare. Now, what we've already done is we've already sent out a couple of invites out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and we've contacted a few other institutions, and we just told them, look, we're having a hackathon at this month, well, at the end of this month, and this is what's going to be happening. Now, this is what's going to happen. So you'll have about roughly over 30 to 40 software developers from all across Gauteng, from, let's say, from Benoni, Vereeniging, Soweto, Alexandra, even like probably close by towards us. And they all come through to our offices based in Sandton. And basically, we just get them here. We treat them like world-class guests. We give them a good breakfast, a good networking session, and just give them enough time to get to know each other, just for a couple of minutes. Because these people who come here, they have no idea who they are. Now, what happens is basically the hackathon goes on for 2 days, and they code and develop for 2 days. And what happens after that? We then get like a panel of people to come judge the solutions and figure out, the viability of these solutions. The viability of the solutions. And once we pick a winner, and once we select a winner, we actually, not only does the winner receive the grand prize of, let's say probably 8,000, maybe 10,000 Rand, depending on what the prizes are for this hackathon, they also get an opportunity to work with the foundation along with the tech partners that we're working with, to build and commercialize and to implement this solution that will have a massive impact across the whole of Gauteng and even nationally. So just a little bit, just give you an example. Last month, we hosted a hackathon that tackled the SASSA grant payments issue. Now, I'm pretty sure mostly everybody who's watching this or who knows that the SASSA grant payment system isn't really working up, isn't actually performing up to standard, which now causes over 300 people to be queuing at SASSA offices. You're having people sleeping outside of SASSA offices just to acquire their money. Now we're figuring out ways of how to digitize the process.
There was a report recently in the papers, and there were some pictures. It was really sad to see those senior citizens sleeping outside on the pavement, waiting to get their payment. It was terrible.
Exactly, and to me, that's a disservice to our citizens. I mean, if the government's not going to do anything, that's where we come in as the Empire Partner Foundation, and we call on the public, because our belief is that if we are part of the public and if we vote our people into government, we as citizens have a sole responsibility to help our own citizens, even if the government cannot do it. So that's what we're doing. And now we've actually we're working very closely with the team who won the hackathon last month to bring their solution to life, so we can actually make an impact on the lives of people. And just to sort of close off in terms of what I'm explaining and talking to you guys about, smart technology can only be smart if it has an impact. If it has an impact in millions of lives, because you can have as many artificial intelligence systems out there, data capturing, IoT, RFID stuff, all this great stuff, including robots that will transform the world. But if that tech does not help the people that genuinely needs, like the people in your townships and rural communities, then that's not smart tech. Smart tech helps people. Smart tech is only smart once it helps people. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you, Bilal, for giving me the opportunity to at least talk on your platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's great having you here, and I was really impressed. I have never seen a hackathon like the one you guys ran, and I want to go back to what you said about giving them the 5-star treatment. When I walked in there into the offices, I wasn't sure if I was in the right place, because as I entered, there were these chefs preparing the meals and things. It was like a 5-star hotel. And that was really cool. And I love the fact that you guys have all these little businesses that are doing sort of they're working in the technology space, and they're solving real problems that are faced by people around the country. And the participants in the hackathon sort of just come in there and they mingle with the people running those businesses, which is cool. And I got to meet some of them. It was a very unusual type of hackathon, and I love what you're saying about your focus. And I find this is a problem the world over. I mean, there's this mindset that we need to implement technology, we need to keep up with technology, and there's this what they call the hashtag FOMO, fear of missing out. So people want to talk technology, they want to implement technology, but it's not people-centric, it's tech-centric. So they're thinking about the technology, not about the people. In fact, I was talking to I was consulting at a huge accounting firm recently, and it was the exact same topic. It was how do we implement technology? And I had to constantly shift their mind away from technology itself for the sake of it to technology as a solution to some specific problems that are faced in the communities. So, that's what I love about you guys and the approach you are using. With regard to hackathons, now, there's one challenge that I found at the hackathons that I've attended, which was that there's a lot of young people that come in there, that participate, that have excellent ideas, but don't have the development skills to bring those ideas to fruition. In fact, I got a call just this morning from an organization that ran a hackathon. It was a successful hackathon. There was a winner, and the winners have started building their solution, but now they're stumped because their development skills are not on the level that can take their product to market. So the go-to market is now on hold until they complete their solution and they get out. So they wanted to know if I'd be happy to mentor these learners forward and these students, and I would be happy to do that. Now, with our two students here, with Erica and Timba, I see their involvement with IT Varsity and Empire Partner as a 1-year extended hackathon. So I see them in the preparation stages right now for the next hackathon that's going to play, well, not the next one, but a hackathon that's going to take place in a year's time at Empire Partners. And hopefully they'll be able to come in there now, their heads buzzing with all these newfound skills, these newly learned skills, this ability to develop apps and develop solutions and play a far more involved role in the hackathon. And hopefully before they leave at the end of the 2 days, they will have a complete solution to whatever problem is prevalent then. So I think it's such a cool concept that IT Varsity and Empire are working together to sort of upskill the youth and to get them ready for actual real world solutions. So there's a great synergy here, and I think we can achieve more with partnerships than we can on our own. So let's get down to it. Let's talk to Erica first. Erica, how are you? And welcome to African Techpreneur.
I'm just looking on your feed. I think Erica just signed. I think she disconnected. I'm just checking my message.
I see.
So I think let's start with Temba, and then
Sure.
I'll just communicate with Erica and just see if everything's all right. Temba.
Hi.
Hi, Temba. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for taking the time to be here, and congratulations on winning the bursary.
Thank you very much for offering me the opportunity to work with you guys and develop a new skill that I've been trying for a while to actually get. As there's a conversation that I actually had earlier with Mikhail about trying to actually get into IT and stuff. And when I applied, it was a shot in the dark, honestly. With everything the way that it transpired as of last year, everything that you do now is more on a hope and a prayer. So I'm just glad that things turned out positively.
Fantastic. I think it started with you taking that first step, you making that effort to attend the hackathon, to apply for the bursary, and now here we are. And it always comes down to that, right? It comes down to the first step, and then the universe just opens up for us. So tell us about Temba. Give us some picture about your background. Where are you from? Which part of the country? What's your background like?
Okay, I'm a Soweto boy, born and raised, and actually always been interested in the sciences from school days. And when I actually got finished with my schooling, studied here and there, but because of finances, both my studies, I actually studied a lab assistant with a correspondence school, and finances became a problem. Then I decided to go work. And then I was offered another opportunity to actually study further with UNISA. And I was actually paying for myself at that particular point in time. And when work vanished literally from underneath me, studies kind of came to a halt. So I'm a person who believes in making your own luck, if for a lack of a better way of saying it. So I believe in that if indeed truly you are looking for something, you can actually make the means, see what corners you can kind of cut and to actually get to it point. Because I actually even found myself at one of the major companies that we have in South Africa, Sasolent. Sasso company in Secunda. I was actually doing a learnership with those guys. Started in 2017, which it was a really rich experience with them. What it did, it helped me highlight one of the things that I enjoyed, but never actually could put my finger on it, in that this is exactly what I enjoy, which is troubleshooting. A great deal of the work was troubleshooting, and knowing, of course, equipment and understanding the process was also part of it as well. But I really enjoyed the troubleshooting bit, which also kind of led me into it reignited my curiosity for IT, because I found myself always kind of straying into the field, but never actually getting like a firm foothold in it. And when last year happened, the company in itself couldn't renew our contracts and stuff, and it left me in a place where I actually had to reevaluate my life and my goals. That's when I saw that with all the chaos that was actually happening around us, one of the few things that held steady was thriving was technology. It shifted people's views of how things can operate even in the chaos, in the midst of the chaos. And honestly, it was one of the shining lights that the world had. Because remember, we are human. We need connection. We need people. We need whether to push work or push your errands or whatever it is, but we need outside connection. So what it did, it catered for all of those, and it shouldered the entire burden with relative ease. And for me, it felt like an affirmation for me to actually kind of jump in head on, like with everything into the field. So yeah, and
so tell me,
that's how I got here.
Cool. So I'm curious about your experience at Sasol, right? What do you think was the most valuable thing you walked away with from there? What's your life lesson that you got from there?
My life lesson that I got from there is that the way in which I operate under pressure, it was a high pressure environment, really high pressure environment, because we actually doing the work. It was work integrated learning, so it was both work and learning at the same time. What I found, I found that I actually handle so much better when it's under pressure, because I've been in pressurized situations before, but nothing of that magnitude, where you have to understand that should you make an incorrect choice in the field, it may result in the loss of life. And it puts things in perspective for you as an individual, in that you understand the responsibility and the accountability that they put in your hands, that they put on your training, that they put in everything that they drilled into you coming into the environment, and allowing you to start operating independently. And it's a great responsibility, and it's something that you should never take lightly. That's where I saw that I not only rose to the challenge, but I also thrived, which kind of, it blew my mind open. It broadened my horizon, in that in spite of however intense things may seem, I seem to come out above it. And it was very fulfilling feeling for me.
Fantastic. So here's my last question to you, right? You pretty much answered most of the questions that I was going to ask you. Detailed answers.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I can see your passion coming across, and I'm grateful that you are now part of our family. And I sincerely hope you'll enjoy this, and you'll get the skills that you want. But I want to ask you a question which wasn't part of this, right? I'm going to throw you a bit of a curveball here. And that is, South Africa has problems, right? Africa in general also has a number of problems. Which one of these problems are you most passionate about solving? So given technology skills to solve any one of these problems, which is the one you'd like to tackle the most?
Oh, yeah, you kind of threw one at me. Actually, there's two that they've been I won't say sort of like a peeve at me. They've been kind of knowing at me. It's the water problem in Africa and medicine delivery. I'll explain. I'll start with the medicine delivery one. It's a problem if we have the resources to cure common ailments. If we can't get it to the right people and get it delivered in such a way that it gets to where it needs to efficiently, I feel technology is actually the only way to actually get it to where we need to in the time that we need to the people that we need to. And I feel like if we actually put our heads together as me as a potential developer and other established developers like everyone in the foundation, I believe we could come up with something that would not only alleviate but make the problems of the past a far off dream that never even transpired. Coming to the first one that I mentioned, water.
Yeah.
It's a source of life. 71% of the earth is covered in literal water. So it doesn't make sense that there's still places where a drop of water is more precious than gold.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense to me. It should be something that it's as free as the air that we breathe.
It's a human right.
It basically is. So I feel that projects could be launched or should be launched, or rather think tanks should be started where focus can be taken to these very arid regions where technology can then now bear fruit and actually show people that in as much as they believe, because remember, different parts of Africa have different religions and different ways as they see technology. There's places where it's still a bit of a taboo. There's places where people have still reluctance in terms of, touching on it and whatnot. And it's the onus is on us to not only break those taboos or those stereotypes or any negative connotation regarding to that by showing them that this is what technology bears. It bears this kind of fruit. And if they actually see technology's fruits manifesting in front of their eyes, I believe that is it's going to be paradigm shifting for them.
Yeah, it is. I think you hit it on the head, and I personally have experienced the issue of that paradigm shift that's needed. I mean, when we talk about, I'm in the education space, right? When we talk about short courses, vocational qualifications like the type that we offer, this is the currency in all the big companies now. You talk Google, Facebook, etc. They don't look at degrees any longer. They look at short courses. They look at skills. Mm-hmm. But in South Africa, I find that the majority of parents are still clinging to that idea of going and getting a degree and then taking the degree and getting a job.
Quite true.
And we are constantly fighting against that old mindset. So we got almost this conflict. We've got the kids that want to study technology. They want to do short courses. They see the value, but the parents are like, no, you're going to go and get a degree. And yet the companies are saying, we don't need degrees. We need people with skills. That's awesome stuff. Timber, I think this is the first of many conversations you and I are going to be having. Now I'm going to talk to Erica. Erica, welcome and congratulations on winning the bursary.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
It's a pleasure. Erica, tell us about yourself. Who is Erica? Where are you from? Give us a sense of you and your family and your background.
So I am Erica Matimbambiti. I was born and bred in Orange Farm, a township located in the south of Johannesburg. So I completed matric in 2019. And then in 2020, I was upgrading my mathematics because it wasn't good enough. That's me.
Okay, so you are a go-getter. You didn't take it sitting down. You said, well, I'm going to improve those math results and I'm going to go for it.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, you obviously attended the Empire EPF hackathon and you came across the bursary offer and you applied for it, right? What was your motivation? Why did you consider technology? Obviously, you knew it was a technology course. What made you think about technology as a career option?
It was because since we are driven by the fourth industrial revolution, I thought like those skills would be very important for our society and to help us improve our challenges we are facing.
Fantastic. So Same question I asked Temba earlier, right? We have a number of problems in South Africa and Africa in general. Which one are you most passionate about? Given technology skills, given the support from IT Varsity and from Empire, what would you like to solve?
I would like to solve education and unemployment, because those are the big ones right now.
Fantastic. Then you and I have something in common there, because we're both trying to solve the same thing. That is excellent. I think one of my pet peeves in this country, on this continent, is the imbalance in education. I mean, you've got two completely different levels of education. The child in the city, especially the more upmarket child that the parents can afford private schools, they're getting a very different type of education to the child. So the child, as I was saying, the child in the city is getting a far different quality of education from a child in a township. And I believe that technology has the potential to level that playing field, to bring everybody up onto the same level. But again, it's like Temba was saying earlier, we need a paradigm shift. We need people to be open to technology, to be open to the idea of embracing technology, even in education. Otherwise, we're just going to remain behind. Okay, cool.
Bilal,
yeah.
Would you mind if I just jump in there real quick?
Go for it.
It's interesting you say that, because I honestly believe that in order for, I would say, our youth to actually move forward in terms of choosing your different career paths, choosing, let's say, what you want to solve, it all boils down to the parenting. Because as much as, the whole, let's say, our entire society will question the youth in terms of why are they choosing only these paths here? They never really dive down and say, but why aren't we educating our parents in terms of what's going on? And yes, I know everyone has like this huge fear of, people watching you, or let's say having that secret man behind the computer watching your every move. How is your data being used? Is someone using your data without your consent? Is someone using a picture without your consent? And those are all the things that parents are very afraid of. And they don't see the actual true value of technology. So they'll hold on to the negative reviews on why tech will never really succeed. And yet it's actually dominating our lives every single day. And I was thinking probably just before, I'm like just like at some part of the webinar, I'd like to actually ask Temba and Erica, what challenges are they also experiencing in their own communities? Because as much as as the Empire Partner Foundation, we go out there and we look for challenges and stuff, we practically get mostly everything from the news. But it's good to talk to people as well who live in these areas, let's say like Soweto and the Orange Village and stuff. What challenges are they experiencing as well? Because if we can get that also understanding, it'd also be great for for us to see what the public is also experiencing, because maybe there's some of the news reporting that we don't really know about.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for that, Mikhail. Erika and Temba, did you get Mikhail's question about your challenges? You guys can go for it.
I got the question. But should it be ladies first maybe this time, and then I can finish off?
Okay.
If you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
So the question
is Erica. Bilal, I think you're muted.
I'm back. Okay, so Erica, the question is, what questions do you, what challenges do you find that you yourself are facing in your community, or people in your community are facing, that need to be solved? What problems are there that could be solved with technology?
So in my community, we are facing the challenge of having access to internet.
Okay.
Sorry for this. I am having internet problems. That's why I am stuttering a bit. So in my community, we are having internet problems because we do not have access to libraries and other places to get information regarding anything you want to research about.
100%. I think I can identify with that because we've got so many students in townships that just don't have access to internet but wish to study with us. Temba, you want to go for it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like Erica touched on a bit there, the access to internet is a big problem. You see people actually have that hunger to further themselves, upskill themselves, connect to people. But with the way it's access is very sporadic and it's random and it's unpredictable. You find your traditional sports where like at your libraries or at a a Wi-Fi hotspot, like at a mall or something like that, and you find a whole host of people clamoring on one particular network, and then it goes through a bottleneck, and you see the hunger in what they need in trying to accomplish whatever it is they're trying to accomplish with using the internet in itself. So that is a big problem, and it's a very frequent one because there is nearly a day where you don't actually come across a host of people trying to connect online and either forward applications, check the applications if they've gone through, or whatever their needs are at the particular moment. And second to that, education. I feel at this present moment, the way things have transpired, it allows us to actually take a more solid stance in building a more solid infrastructure in the way that the kids that are currently in high school, giving them access to courses or short courses or adding to their curricula stuff like coding, programming. Can you guys still hear me over there?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the screen went dark. Basically, tech curricula, like it should be more diverse, and it should actually be started out in the high schools. Because now remember, by the time these guys finish with their grade 12, they are so confident as developers, as coders, as programmers, as developers that they can take on anything. And as Bilal touched a bit on there, that the way school and qualifications have been viewed by companies has completely changed. It's no longer a matter of they're looking for guys with degrees. They're looking for guys with actionable skills that they can put in to the company, and these guys can hit the ground running. And imagine that you've already pre-gamed these guys 5 years ahead of the time they actually needed these skills. So by the time you actually immerse them in companies where they actually get to expand on what they already know and the ideas that have been percolating in their minds, they become shocks and they spearhead basically technology on a level that we probably at that particular time or never even fathomed. So I feel that's a huge cornerstone that we need to focus on. Right now, sure, we need to start on where we're standing at, on the crossing we're standing at, but also we need to remember that the guys coming up behind us are the ones who are going to be leading us going forward when we are then now can't, for whatever reason, old age or whatever. But we need to go back to foundation phase and make sure that these courses are set up in such a way that they are very progressive and they are very people friendly, and these kids can assimilate them, and then they can grow within the tech space.
Yeah, and I think another advantage of introducing them to a lot of different options from a young age is that kids will find what they are truly passionate about. I mean, last week in last week's episode of African Techpreneur, I spoke to my own son, and we were discussing how at school he was told he should become an accountant, which I knew for a fact that he would never be, because he's a developer at heart. He's a chip of the old block, and that would have been if he went strictly on the narrow, constrained pathways that the school was offering him. He would have been in a miserable job right now doing something that he absolutely hates. So I think that's going to be the other advantage of exposing our kids to lots of different options. So we've run out of time for the actual webinar, and now we've gone into question and answer time, which is one of my favorite parts. So let's check with Akifa. Akifa, are there any questions?
Hi, Bilal. So basically, I noticed this, especially with Facebook, is that there's a little bit of lag. So the questions will probably come in as we speak in. But Sifu basically added a comment on Facebook saying that exactly what Timber was mentioning of bringing technology and introducing it at a very young age. Sifu mentions about, bringing and introducing our early childhood development foundation into actually technology. And that's basically touching on what you guys were talking about, introducing it and letting them find their passion in that versus, someone becoming an accountant who's not designed for that.
Yeah, in
But
fact, there's an excellent NGO which IT Varsity is in negotiations to work with, and you guys will be happy to hear this, right? These guys have one specialization as an NGO. They train youth to become IT service providers at schools. So basically, they're going to train these youth, I think about 2,000 youth, and place them, they're going to train them in coding skills and also teaching skills. So how do you teach coding to children? And they're going to place them into schools and help them to get started with little coding and robotics and 4IR courses at their schools. And the salaries will be paid by the school governing body, which is really cool. I think that's one a probable solution, and that will also alleviate the problem that Mikhail mentioned earlier on about this negativity around technology. And when I think about it, it's not just technology that people are negative about. It's anything new. So when we talk about, for example, vaccines for COVID. Now, I'm not a medical expert, so I can't comment about the effectiveness or not about the COVID vaccines. But what I want to comment about is the negativity around it and all these conspiracy theories that go around it. But yet, in the early 1900s, around 1910, 1920, when smallpox was killing millions of people around the world, then they discovered a vaccine, they applied the vaccine, and now smallpox has disappeared off the face of this earth. Why don't we think about that? Why don't people talk about how vaccines eradicated smallpox off the face of the earth and saved millions of lives? We always go back to, the negative aspects or the conspiracy theory that somebody raised. It's the same with tech. It's how our data is being used. Like Mikhail said, it's about Big Brother spying on us. So there's lots of conspiracy theories. But if we see the good that technology has done, if we really think about it, then we'll come to our senses that tech is not bad. So Akifa, any questions came through here?
I was going to say, there's more comments from, so one of the comments that I'm seeing here from Tabzin Mambisa in Pretoria, mentioning about, one of the challenges that he faced specifically is that while many parents are not opting for these short courses, it's also because of these fly-by-night colleges, where lots and lots of youth are actually investing in a lot of money into these colleges, but they're not getting anything for that value, And so this is why more parents are actually opting for universities. And he says this is a personal experience of his.
Wow, that is an angle that we never considered, and it's very valid. I think it's very valid. So parents are generally concerned that they rather spend their money on something that is maybe a substandard degree, but it is a degree, it's accredited by SAQA. So what I would recommend for anybody in that space is, who's in that dilemma, is do some background checks. First, check for accreditation. Obviously, that's a big sign, but also look at the social proof of what these colleges are doing. Look for actual success stories of people that came, studied, and went out there. Like 2 weeks back, we spoke to Koliswa, right? She was one of our first students at IT Varsity, and I'm not marketing IT Varsity here, but I'm saying we take it as our own responsibility to tell the world about who we are. Otherwise, who is IT Varsity? You don't know who IT Varsity is. So she started off with no skills. Today, she's a very successful web developer. So if an institute cannot prove that, then I think you need to steer clear. Mikhail, you wanted to add something about short courses?
So I can. So just to give you guys some little insight, right? I'm 25 years old, right? And I'm currently studying through UNISA and doing a political degree. But over the time of my studies and working with the Empire Partner Foundation, I've actually grown to notice a few things. And yes, while studying for your degree is great, it's something good. And for those people who are studying degrees, keep pushing for it and get it right. But if you sort of feel like maybe this degree isn't what you want to do, then look at investing in short courses, because I've actually completed a digital marketing course, and it was a 10-week course through UCT, and it's already opened so many avenues for myself in terms of where I want to be. Maybe it's in the next 10 years. I'm still going to be the foundation for the rest of my life. I love what I do. But let's say if I want to improve on, let's say, how do we improve, let's say, our social media handling? How do we grow our website traction? How do we drive more people to, let's say, our webinars and stuff like that? That's what the digital marketing course has already offered me. And any short course that you find, it will open up more doors for you to maybe starting up your own business, or maybe going to a company and saying, look, I don't have a degree in marketing, but what I can do is I can do video editing for you. I can grow your social media. I can show you how to revamp your websites. And those companies will actually look and say, you know what, if you've got these skills, then we'll take you over someone who has a marketing course. Because at the end of the day, right now, even as Elon Musk said, he actually said, and it was a tweet or maybe one of his videos, but even he said, I want to see somebody who's got skills, not just a piece of paper that says you have an MBA in this. I'm not discrediting anybody who has an MBA. I do applaud for people who do have that, but it's just more of like, people these days, if you have got the skills, then you are also eligible to get a good occupation or to grow yourself.
There's that actually resonates with me, because just yesterday I was speaking to a friend who's settled in Dubai now, and he said to me more or less the exact same thing that you just said. He's applying for a job, and he says to me, Bilal, these guys, I sent them my CV, and he's got an impressive CV, right? I sent them my CV. They looked at my qualifications, everything. That was just first round. They took that, they put it one side, and they says, right, now prove your skills to us. And they gave him an actual job to do that will be within his scope of activities. So I think it was, he was also applying for digital marketing, strange enough. And they said to him, well, we want you to design and launch a Google AdWords campaign. And if it works, then you're going to get the job. Now, this guy says, I've never seen anything like this in South Africa. I mean, here we still, people might still get away with a degree and no skills. But in those advanced economies, it's completely changed. And it's they've already embraced this mindset of bringing in the best people for the job who got the skills, not just got a piece of paper to their names. Guys, I think we're going to have to wrap up now. Akifa, we've got a minute left. Can we slip in one more quick question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's tons of actually comments on Facebook, but I'm going to go to one of Raisa's questions here. So she's asking, with regards to addressing fears of parents, a lot of parents and older generation are afraid that technology is taking their jobs away. How would you address these fears? I'm not sure who that is posed to, but yeah, anyone.
Yeah, well, I said 1 minute. I didn't say 1 hour, right? So, look,
okay.
It's always, I think we need to do a separate episode on this. But in a nutshell, technology, it's true, it takes certain jobs away, but it also creates other opportunities. That's something we need to remember. During, in the transition from the second to the third industrial revolutions, when machines started taking over people's jobs, factory jobs, farming jobs were getting taken over, people simply transitioned from being manual labor into becoming knowledge workers. So those people that were farm workers, their children became office workers. And so that was the one revolution that took place. And at that stage, people were concerned that machines are going to take our jobs and we are going to starve. But the world's population doubled, tripled, and quadrupled, and yet people are finding jobs. But now what they're saying, now what the world is saying, and President Ramaphosa said this and I keep repeating this. He said that the days of waiting for big companies to create jobs are over. Now we're entering the age of entrepreneurship, tech entrepreneurship, particularly because now with just a cell phone, you can start a business, a global business, and there's no barriers to entry. I mean, if you want to sell a commodity, you can just put it on Instagram and start shipping globally. There's nothing to stop you from. So that's the whole idea of African Techpreneur, right? That's the whole idea of this webinar series, to expose people to the immense opportunities that are out there for entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is the future. With that, guys, I think we're gonna wrap up today's episode. It's been such an exciting episode, and I kept on watching the time because the time seemed to have been moving much faster today than in our normal episodes. Once again, I want to thank Mikhail for taking the time out. I know how busy you are. I really, really appreciate you taking the time, Mikhail, and also Erika and Temba. Thanks a lot for joining us, and good luck. We hope you really
Thank you.
this journey with us, and we want to see you reaching the heights.
Thank you very much, Bilal, for having us. It's been a pleasure to be on your webinar. And also, would you just mind if I just give like just a last minute, we'll just say one about the hackathon that we have this month that's coming up.
Sure, go for it.
So guys, look, we are having another hackathon this month. It's actually from the 28th to the 27th of March. And if you guys are in the Carleton area or based in Johannesburg, go to the Empire Partner Foundation company page on Facebook. You can find us also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram as well. But if you guys are software developers, coders, front end, back end, maybe data specialists, go to the Empire Partner Foundation Facebook page. You'll find our invites, and just click the link in the invites and then register for our hackathon. And who knows, you guys might be actually one of the lucky people to be joining our hackathon, because unfortunately, due to COVID regulations, we have a limited slot about for 40 people. But that doesn't stop you from joining us even the next one that might happen in the following month, because we will be having a hackathon every single month from between March and also to March next year. So yeah, so guys, just keep on developing and just reach for the stars. Thank you so much for having us, Bilal.
Fantastic. It's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
Thank you very much. Cheers, everyone.